All right. So we wanted to allow people to choose their play experience. So the people who want to zone out obviously can. For those people who are more into those collectible type of things, you can go back, you can play over any board you want, and continue to try to collect more stars, and some of the achievement-based stamps that are in the game as well. So what we've done is we've also taken the game up a notch, and what's a game without some sort of advanced level that you can reach? So when you reach the end of each level, we added, what everybody in the console space would refer to as a boss board, essentially, but it is a slightly different variant on your typical Slingo gameplay. So you get to the end of the island, it gets a little harder, we've changed the theme. And you'll notice this one goes to a larger matrix size and has actually 7 different real icons that can appear as well. So this one has bounce Slingos, all the spins are free. Bouncing Slingos, instead of doing a straight line in any direction, the Slingos will actually bounce around and adds a little bit more fun to the boards themselves. Some of the other boss board ideas that we had come up with along the lines were there's a version that has actually 2 boards that you're playing on at the same time. So like your typical bingo hall, those people who buy 2, 3, and 4 bingo cards can ultimately play out the game and actually play now on 2 different cards. And we even reward people for getting long Slingos in the game ultimately. So how do you keep the people, aware of what's going on? So that we're going very far outside, essentially, what made Slingo the original game so successful. We changed some of the basic conventions that we went away with. So one of the things we did was kicking around how would the first couple of levels play out? Should we ramp up the different features that we wanted to introduce to the players slowly throughout the game? Should we front load the game so that people get the full experience right away? Give all the power-ups and features in the first couple of boards? Because with your typical download casual game, you're giving away that first hour for free. So you wanted an experience that would ultimately engage the person enough to make them want to continue playing, but not give them everything in the first couple of minutes of the game, so there's no reason to keep going. We found that it takes about an hour to play through the first 3 islands, and even expert Slingo players, the people who are just really right there and can do all the number matching in their head without thinking about it, ultimately can make it through about 4 islands. So there's still a whole bunch of gameplay that's still left to go on. As you progress through the game, the first island actually has a sampling of all of the different features, and then as you go throughout the rest of the game, the different islands have different features specific to them, which progress. So there's islands based specifically on multipliers and other types of features. So to give everyone a quick taste of how campy we've gotten, we did put in a game mode that's kind of an Easter egg for some of our more hardcore Slingo fans. On Slingo.com, we ended up releasing a game called Pirate's Fortune. And we thought, well, hey, wouldn't it be funny if you're in this tropical island setting, you're going around from different islands. What would happen if you ultimately have to face off against the evil pirate guy? So what we did is we put the pirate into the game, and it's actually now you're playing head-to-head against the pirate in a game of Slingo, where you alternate spins, and whoever gets the highest score at the end ultimately wins the pirate fortune battle, essentially. So for players to progress through the game, they ultimately need to match the patterns, or in this case, have a score that's higher than the pirates. Since there are a lot of elements in Slingo that are ultimately very luck-driven, your typical player will ultimately make it through a decent amount of the game without trying too hard. So it keeps the frustration factor down considerably for your typical casual gamer. So it allows them, if they want to go back, they want to have the harder experience, they want to try to get all the stars, hey, fine, go back and do that. That's the way you want to play. If you want to just kind of play through, more than likely you're going to end up playing through most of the game just by sitting back and clicking and having a good time and enjoying the campiness and the different features that we put into the game. The game right now is about 85% of the way. We're right before a big testing run. We're definitely going to report that one crash. But otherwise, otherwise, there's still some animations left to put in. The characters are actually going to interact a little bit more. The pirate himself is going to have a lot more interaction with the player. Another design thing that came up very early on was who actually gets to go on this quest. And originally it was going to be a character within the game was actually going to go through the quest and push the buttons and do the different things. And then we realized that it actually took a lot away from the play experience to take that out of the player's hands. So we wanted to make sure that the person playing the game, the physical human playing the game, was the one who is actually physically interacting, is the one facing off against the pirate, and it's not this island of cherubs essentially that are part of the mix. So otherwise, I think, how you doing, Mike? You doing pretty good here? All right, so we're almost near the end of this round, and otherwise, if there's any questions?
Yeah, I actually had 2 questions.
Sure.
Can you lose? That's my one question. The other question is, what's the total play time?
Well, losing, since the objective for moving forward is just pattern matching, to lose would mean to not get a pattern and get stuck on a board, but even on your worst possible day, you will only maybe play through it about 2 or 3 times before finally your luck will kind of shift back in your favor and you'll move on. So there's no essentially losing completely and you got to start over somewhere. So you can always save your progress no matter how far you've gotten. The total gameplay, that's really up to the player. I mean, the player who just wants to play through and not even think about it could probably finish everything up in 3 to 5 hours. The player who wants to go back for stars and stamps and all that kind of stuff, it could be 20 to 40 hours depending on whether or not luck's in your favor. One of the stamps you can get is making 1,000 Slingos over the course of playing the game, which we estimate takes you 2 full playthroughs to actually accumulate 1,000 Slingos. But if you're going back for each of the different stars, you generally have to play every board about twice anyway. So it's kind of in the path of what you're going to be doing anyway, but at the same time, it's still an achievement to actually make it. 10 million points. Yes, it is possible to get 10 million points. We did some exponential things with some of the multipliers. People are points happy. Somebody else has already said that once. But it's true, our players are no different, that they want to see these huge scores. Any other questions? Sure. This guy.
Yeah, why don't you keep the MIDI over like MP3 or on music?
Well, since the primary distribution method is downloads, in order to keep the file size smaller, you can pack in a lot more MIDI, and that was a design decision by Funkitron. I'm upset that Dave wasn't able to be here today. He could have answered any type of engine questions, but he's in crunch mode right now, and wasn't able to make it down so any engine related questions would be more than welcome. Oh, good, that silenced everybody. Oh.
What's the demographic of people who play this game?
They fall in line with our Slingo audience, which is your females between 35 and 59, predominantly.